Unsolved Crimes newspaper, as a response to Cavalier civil society organization, within the framework of a struggle against religious extremism, presents.
Greetings, dear Professor Laitila. Thank you very much for your time, and we are happy to see you today. So since you conduct numerous field studies on religions, what do you think is the role of religion today that is used as a weapon to solve geopolitical problems with the goal of expanding the influence? And would you mind please giving historical examples?
Well, I hope I return later to the problem defining the term religion. But, well, first of all, I think that weapons do not solve anything, at least problems. They rather create problems. And if religion is used as weapon, well, the first question perhaps is, who is using it? Is it used by the state or by the ruling elite or by the church or someone else? But this formulation in your question suggests that religion is understood somehow as a handmaiden of the state or the rulers or the those secular persons in power. It's used religion is used in different ways to make difference between us and them, for example, like in the 1990s in the Balkan wars, the Yugoslav disintegration wars, and when there were created categories like Muslims and Orthodox and so on, in places where before the war, in fact, the people didn't mind much about other religion. Only during the war, they suddenly realized that they are of this or that religion. And the context of war somehow intensified their religious attitudes, and this was they were divided by saying that you are of this religion and you are of that religion. And somehow the same seems to continue relative to Islam, regarding Islam from the Western viewpoint in today. So also created differences between us and them. Then we can, well, this Bosnian and Yugoslav disintegration wars is one example. Another from farther away in history could be, for example, the Crusades, which started in the in the end of the 11th century, in which some states, if we can talk about states at that time, and the Western Church or the Pope, both have the same goal, to win back some areas in the Near East. But the Pope had more religious goals, and the states had more or less political and economic reasons to start a war. So when these 2 or 3 different goals met, both parts, the state and the religion, both wanted to achieve a certain goal, to defend, to defeat the Muslims who had taken the Near East. But in this case, religion and state somehow cooperated. But in any case, religion was used as an extra pretext, I would say, to to urge people to go and fight against the Muslims. Then another version of this kind of, let's say, military use of religion is to declare that some religion or some religious body is somehow inherently, essentially evil. I'm thinking about, for example, what the late president of the USA, George Bush, said, and his predecessors, Ronald Reagan, for example, they were talking about the axis of evil and argued that some countries belong to this category, and for some reasons all these countries were Islamic ones, especially, of course, Iran. So this implies that not only the countries, but their ideology or religion also is evil. Mm-hmm. And so, in a way, we can say that a lot of things are done by words. Religion as such is perhaps not a weapon, but if you categorize things in a certain way, you can argue that we belong to the part of the good guys, and the others who had, for some reasons, for another religion, they are the bad guys. So, well, which it's sort of social construction of reality in which religion plays a significant role. Well, I think that because the world seems to be more and more globalizing, and struggle on resources is getting more and more intensive, and political differences are getting, well, smaller between different countries. I mean, there are authoritarian rulers both in the West and in the East. So religion is perhaps the only, or at least one of the major signifiers which make a difference. And because religion is somehow, well, not only somehow, it's closely connected with emotions and affections. So when you talk about religion, you talk about things which are emotionally loaded, and it's easier to make people angry by saying that they have somehow insulted your religion than by saying, for example, that they have insulted your right to own a car or something like that. Well, it might be hurt or someone or make them angry, but if you say that they are somehow dangerous to our basic values, which is another way to put what religion is. So that's perhaps perhaps easier to bring religion at the geological level or arena as well. But to end this, I would like to say that I see that, or I hope at least, that religion could also be used as not only as a weapon, but also as a tool of peacemaking.